The scream cut through the still winter air like shattered glass. Daniel's heart stopped as he whipped around, dropping the bag of firewood he'd been carrying. His twin girls, Emma and Lily, just 7 years old, were no longer running along the snowy trail behind him. Instead, his eyes caught the faint ripples breaking across the frozen surface of Miller's Pond. No, he gasped, legs pumping through the deep snow. His boots slipped, his chest burned, but nothing slowed him. The 2 pink coats he'd bought from a thrift store last fall were flashing in the icy water. The ice had given way. "Daddy!" Emma's tiny voice squealed before being swallowed by the lake. He didn't think. He didn't weigh the danger. A single father, working 2 jobs, running on fumes, barely holding his little family together, none of that mattered. Only his girls mattered. Daniel launched himself onto the frozen surface. The cracking groan of the ice was a sinister reminder that one wrong move meant 3 lives gone instead of 2. He slid forward on his stomach, spreading his weight, and clawed his way toward them. His fingers went numb the moment he reached the frigid water, but he grabbed hold of Lily's jacket first, then Emma's arm. "Hold on to me," he roared. His teeth were already chattering, his breath ragged, but adrenaline pushed him further. With sheer willpower, he dragged both shivering bodies out onto the brittle sheet of ice, pulling them toward the bank. Every inch felt like a mile, his muscles screaming, the freezing water soaking into his own clothes. By the time they reached the snowy ground, Daniel collapsed, clutching his girls so tightly they squeaked. He kissed their wet hair again and again, whispering, "I've got you. You're safe. Daddy's here." That night, as they huddled beneath every blanket they owned in their small, drafty trailer, Daniel replayed the moment in his head over and over. Relief was there, but so was fear. If he hadn't been close, if he had been a minute slower. It wasn't just the frozen lake they were struggling against. It was life itself. Daniel had never expected to raise his daughters alone. 3 years earlier, his wife, Sarah, had lost her battle with cancer. Her last words to him had been, "Promise me you'll give them a happy life." He had promised. And every single day since, he had felt like he was breaking that promise. Bills piled up on the counter faster than he could work. His job at the auto repair shop barely covered food, and the night shift striving for a delivery app left him drained and dizzy. The old trailer they lived in had holes in the walls stuffed with newspaper, and the space heater coughed more than it warned. And yet, despite everything, Emma and Lily still smiled. They still called him their hero. But as Daniel tucked them in that night, both girls' lips still pale from their brush with the icy water, a tear slipped down his cheek. He whispered a prayer into the darkness. "God, I don't need riches. I don't need comfort. Just give me strength to keep them safe. Please, just give me something." 3 days later, his prayer was answered in a way he never could have imagined. It was a bitter Wednesday morning when Daniel heard the rumble outside. He peered through the frosted window, rubbing his eyes in disbelief. One by one, massive black SUVs rolled up the dirt road, their headlights cutting through the fog. Not 1, not 2, but 10 luxury vehicles stopped in front of his trailer. Daniel's first thought was panic. Debt collectors? Police? Some mistake? He grabbed his worn jacket and stepped outside, shielding his face against the wind. Out of the lead SUV stepped a man in an immaculate coat, followed by several others. Their shoes weren't meant for dirt roads. They didn't belong here. "Are you Daniel Carter?" the man asked, his voice firm but kind. Daniel hesitated. "Yeah. What's this about?" The man introduced himself as James Holloway, CEO of a large local company. Then, in words Daniel could barely process, James explained that someone had anonymously posted Daniel's story online. A fisherman who had seen him dragging the girls from the ice had told reporters about the single dad who risked everything. The story had spread like wildfire, shared, commented on, and eventually picked up by a local news station. "We were moved by your courage," James said. "But more than that, by the love you showed. It reminded us of what really matters." Daniel swallowed hard, his hands trembling. I don't understand." One by one, the SUVs opened. Families stepped out, people in suits, women with children, businessmen, mothers, teenagers. Each held something in their arms: bags of groceries, warm clothing, boxes of toys, envelopes sealed with handwritten notes. And then, as if orchestrated, they began carrying these things into Daniel's tiny yard, piling them high with care. A generator. New winter coats. Bed sheets. Shoes for the girls. Fresh food. Even a heater. Emma and Lily, still in their patched-up pajamas, peeked from the doorway. Their eyes lit up at the sight of toys, a pair of dolls that looked just like them. "Daddy, is it Christmas?" Lily whispered. Daniel couldn't speak. His throat was too tight. But the true miracle wasn't just the gifts. It was the promise that followed. James placed a hand on Daniel's shoulder. "We've also set up something more lasting. A fund to help with your daughter's education. And if you're willing, I'd like to offer you a position at our company garage. Full-time. Better pay. Benefits. Stability." Daniel's knees nearly gave out. For years, he had carried the crushing weight of failure, convinced he wasn't enough. Now, because strangers had cared, his daughters had a future brighter than anything he had dared dream. Emma and Lily ran out into the snow, each grabbing one of his hands. "Daddy! Look! We have beds. And food." Daniel bent down, tears streaming openly now. He hugged them close, whispering, "See, girls? Miracles are real." The days that followed were filled with change. For the first time in years, Daniel didn't dread opening his fridge. The twins had warm boots to wear to school. And every night, as they prayed together, Daniel felt Sarah's presence close by, as if she were smiling at the life her family was finally building. But more importantly, Daniel realized something profound: the miracle hadn't come from wealth, or even from the SUVs that had lined his street. It had come from compassion. From people deciding to be kind always. That phrase became Daniel's new mantra. He told his daughters that kindness wasn't just about giving when you had plenty, but about giving when you had little, whether that was love, time, or even a smile. If you're watching this story right now, I want to ask you something. What if we lived in a world where every stranger, every neighbor, every friend chose kindness first? What if every one of us became someone's miracle? Daniel and his daughters are living proof that one act of kindness can ripple into something far greater than we imagine. So I invite you, share your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever experienced or witnessed a miracle of kindness? Tell your story. Inspire someone else.